Master Maker on JTV Extra. We are going to be focusing on components, in particular clasps, focals, findings, beads, of course beads, and I'm going to show you and inspire you with different ways to use all of these really cool components. Before we get started though, a little bit of housekeeping. Just want everybody to know that be sure that you are sharing this anywhere that you are allowed to share videos, over on your Facebook groups, things like that. Also be sure that you're given all of those little love buttons. Hit those hearts to share the love, you guys. And if you are interested in what is going on in today's show, if you want to see the products ahead of time before I get to them, there are a couple of different ways that you can shop. You can check out down in the bottom of your screen. You've got 3 little boxes and a magnifying glass. If you click on that, you're going to bring up the gallery. It's going to show you everything that is in the Master Maker show. And you can click on those items individually. You can check those out. You can do all of your shopping without leaving the show, which is great. It's just going to make me really small. When you get through checking out, you just click out of there and you're going to get me full screen again. So also, you're going to be seeing as I go through products, you're going to see the little thumbnails that are going to come up. You can click on those to get more information about those as well. So easy peasy, right? Easy peasy. All right, so let's get started. We don't have a whole lot of time. I'm normally used to doing about an hour show, so 30 minutes for me is it's going to take me a minute, so y'all be patient with me. I'm just happy to be here. So we've got some really cool things in the show today, though. I've got a pound of mixed beads that you guys are going to absolutely love. I'm going to show you those beads. We're going to go through like a little treasure hunt with those. And then I'm going to show you some really cool components, and I'm going to show you some finished pieces, walk you through a really quick project, and hopefully inspire you so that you go on the rest of your day being creative and looking into the components that you've got, or the new ones that you've ordered from JTV coming your way to see different ways that you can use those, right? All right, I'm going to turn you guys around and we are going to get started right now. All right, so give me just a second. Adjust everything here. All right, so just like I said, I've got a pound of beads for you guys that I think you guys are going to absolutely love. So this is a mixed variety of beads. There's a little bit of everything in here, guys. And listen, a pound of beads, that's nothing to snub your nose at. A pound of beads, that's a lot. That is a lot, and every single one of these is going to be a little bit different. So you get 2 or 3 of these, you're going to get tons of things to choose from for sure. You're going to go through here. It's just like I said, it's like a little treasure hunt. There are some great big beads that are included. There's some really cool focals in here. There are really cool shapes. Lots of really fun things in here. Like, I'm inspired just by looking at the beads, right? And we haven't even talked about any of the components that are in the show yet, but the beads are pretty awesome. So look, check out these shapes. I've not ever seen these little shapes. These kind of remind me of like little spindles in like a staircase. I don't know, but I could see these as some really cool drops, right? Just add some ear wires to these and you're good to go. Like, drop those down onto a head pin, do a little loop, and you're good to go. Lots of colors, lots of textures in here. And again, the shape variety is what's really got me. I do love a good round bead, I'm not going to lie, because those are the easiest. But I tell you what, when it comes to designing, if you want to think outside the box, definitely want to pick out some of these shapes to try. Some squares in here. Look at these. So this is like a bead jacket. I don't know if you can see on the camera or not, but this is drilled straight through. So you could actually take, got one here, I'll just show you. You can take a head pin or an eye pin and thread that through there. Pick up another little bead if you wanted to. Let's see. Let's stick that on there, and then let's just pick up a little bead and stick that through. Well, maybe. Probably help if I was doing this on the actual bead mat instead of out here in the air. But you just want to slide one of those in there, and then go ahead and slide your head pin all the way through, your eye pin all the way through, and you've got yourself a little bead in there. Oh, it would help if you could see that too. My bad. It's going to take me a minute, you guys. It's a whole new world here at Master Maker. Whole new world for me. It's been a minute. It's definitely different to not have a producer in your ear, that's for sure. So just kind of feel like you're out here on your own. That's all right. We've got each other. We've got each other. It's all good. All right. So just to show you a few more things that are in here, this is like I said, a gemstone treasure hunt. There's tiger's eye in here. There's some agate pieces in here. I saw some pieces of jasper, different kinds. There is sodalite in here. There's just there's a piece of amethyst in here. It's just a really beautiful mix. And like I said, each mix is going to be a little bit different. You've got a whole pound of beads to play with. That's going to last you a really long time. When I was getting ready for this show, I made a total of 16 pieces of jewelry. That's when I thought we had an hour. But I made 16 pieces of jewelry and I still had probably a half of this left over. So this is going to last you a really, really long time. And I don't think there's going to be any lack of inspiration here. Check out the drops. So beautiful. All right, so we're going to be using these. This is kind of our jumping off point. We're going to be using these for some of our projects that I'm going to show you guys. So I'm going to sit this over here to the side and I'm going to show you our first component here. All right, so the first component, try to figure out the best way to show this to you. So we've got some connectors here. We've got some Celtic inspired connectors in 6 different designs. These come in the antiquated silver tone and there's about 26 pieces here. That's a ton to work with. Now, I don't know how you feel about connectors. Maybe you don't really have much of an opinion on them at all, but it's one of my very favorite things to work with because there are 2 loops. It's different than just your average pendant because you've got a connection point here in 2 different places, which makes this really cool to work with. So you've got the opportunity to connect it either calling this the top and the bottom, or you can turn it sideways and you've got, you know, you can bead on either side of this if you want to. But that's not the only thing that these are really cool for. I'm going to show you some examples here of different ways that you can use these in just a second, but I do want to show you each one of the styles that are here so you get a good look at all of these. Like I said, there are six different designs and they come in a lot of different shapes. So this one's got the loops on the top and the bottom, and so does the other one here. So you've got those in the nice round shape, which work for so many different things. You've got this one that's more kind of oblong. You've got your loops at the top, loops at the bottom. Let's see if I can turn you guys this way without, no, that tripod's going to be right in the way. All right, we're doing the best that we can here, guys. I can't really tell what direction I am for you guys. I don't want to be completely upside down. So, all right, so we've got this one, and then there are this one. I think this one might be my favorite. I don't know. It's a toss-up. It's a toss-up. I love both of these. And let me tell you why I love both of these. This one might be my favorite, though, because this open filigree work that you've got gives you the opportunity to connect dangles. And if you have ever watched a show with me, whether it was in a previous JTV Jewel School show years ago, or if you just follow me as a designer, you know that I love dangles. So any opportunity that I can get to add extra things, I'm all about being extra. That's why I'm such a good fit here for JTV Extra, because I'm definitely extra. But you've got this open work here where you can attach your jump rings. You can wire wrap directly to this, and it gives you more than just these 2 holes here, these 2 loops where you can attach things. And I'm going to show you, as a matter of fact, here in just a little bit, I'm going to show you how to use this one for a multi-strand necklace, because you've got your loop here, but then you have these 2 little openings here. It's a great place to put some extra strands if you were going to be stringing or wire wrapping. So yeah. All right, I'm going to sit that one down. I've got 2 more to show you that are a little bit smaller. We're going to use these in our design here in just a few minutes as well. Super cute just to have some that are a little bit smaller. These make great little earring components. Pop an ear wire on the top and a little dangle on the bottom and you're good to go. Or you can link these together with some jump rings. And I'm going to show you some cool things you can do with that here in just a minute. So let me show you some examples. And then we're going to get started with putting together that necklace that I was talking about. But I did want to give you just a few little ideas, a little bit of inspiration for you. So put together a necklace here using some of those beautiful beads that were in that bead mix. And I just did a little bit of wire wrapping here. I've used some ribbon for the length of the necklace, but the coolest part of this is obviously this focal here in the front, where I used one of those connectors and I put it in front of one of the large beads from that bead mix. So Remember this guy that I just showed you a second ago when we were checking out that bead mix? Yeah, another one of these connectors laid right on top of that. You do a little bit of wire wrapping and added angle to that, and you've got a really cool, specialized, personalized kind of jewelry here. So it's not just your average everyday jewelry. And that's what I want to do here at Master Maker is I definitely want to make you the master maker, show you some different ways to use things out of the ordinary box for sure. So laying something across the front, one of these, perfect for that. So that's a great little idea for you. I'm going to show you a couple of other things that you can do with these as well. So let's say you've got a bead here that is not exactly flat, right? I found another really cool bead, this coin-shaped bead, but you can see it's got a little thickness to it, but I've got this coin-shaped bead that came out of the mix, and I laid another one of those connectors across the top. It didn't work out to be completely smooth, right? The two loops where I had put this onto an eye pin and the loop on the connector, but using a larger jump ring to go between them just takes that connector and lays it perfectly flat on top of that bead. So again, all the beads that you see here are from that bead mix. Now everybody's are going to be a little bit different, but you're not going to be lacking in the inspiration department for sure. There's tons of inspiration, lots of different shapes and sizes. So just another little way that you can use those connectors. And if that's not enough inspiration for you, I've got more. Check this out. So leather, cord, anything flat, right? Anything flat, you can actually sew these on. So I'm not even thinking wire wrapping here. I actually just took a needle and some wildfire. You could use needle and like embroidery floss or thread or whatever. And I just sewed this onto this piece of leather. Now, ideally, I would have liked to have had a wider piece of leather, but I think it's still pretty cool, right? To make a really cool bracelet. It's great for unisex pieces. So you don't even have to be doing stringing to be inspired by these really cool connectors. And you can see it's just where it's sewn on the back. I'm not the best sewer in the world, but I can tell you that's not going anywhere. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. All right, couple of other pieces here just to show you. Now they always, like I said, make great earring pieces or earring components. So if all you want to do is just add a bead to the bottom of them and pop an ear wire on them, you've got a handmade piece of jewelry. And it takes you absolutely no time. What's cool about these is that if you're only using one bead for this, you can swap these out easy peasy, right? Let's say you're going out and you've got a blue outfit on and this black bead's just not going to work for you. First of all, you've got a rainbow of beads here to choose from, so you can pick any color that you want. Put that onto a head pin and attach that to your connector and you're good to go. Like it really is only going to take you a couple of seconds and you can switch the beads out on those, no problem. Definitely, like I mentioned before, great for unisex jewelry. So if you wanted to use some repeat cord or other kinds of cords to do knotting, you can do that with your adjustable clasp here. But if you're looking for clasps, I've got some of those coming up for you here in just a second as well. Just one more example for you, and then we are going to talk about those clasps because we're going to use those in our piece. So just one more way to use these. Kind of used this one like a bead in my design here. So instead of having it, you know, at the front or the end of the design, I had it kind of in here in the middle with everything else. Just a really pretty accent. And again, if you wanted to, you could come in with that open filigree and you could add dangles to this. So would be really, really awesome. Now you're getting a little sneak peek here of the clasps that I've got coming up. So let's go ahead and talk about those. And then let's put together a piece of jewelry, shall we? Let's do some actual making here. So I'm going to set all of these over here to the side. I'm going to show you these clasps really quickly, and then we are going to move on. So our third item for the show is this designer clasp kit. It comes in 3 different designs. There's approximately 36 clasps. Now I don't have all 36 out here to show you because I wanted to show you the 4 different styles that are here. But 36 clasps, guys, that's going to be enough to get you, well, obviously 36 pieces of jewelry if you're just going to use them as clasps. However, I'm going to show you some really cool ways to use these as focals, as links for chain, there's so many options here, and these are absolutely beautiful. The ones with the roses, you've got that antiqued brass, you've got the antique silver, you've got two different ones here that is like a teardrop shape, and then more of the traditional toggle. That's just the ring, but it still has those decorative accents to it. So really beautiful, but can be used in so many different ways. And again, I've got some really fun examples, and then we are going to put something together. So I definitely am a fan of using those, again, as an earring drop, just like the other connectors. Just pop a bead on there and you've got a really beautiful pair of earrings. So quick and so easy, right? By just adding a little piece of carnelian that I found in that bead mix. Super pretty. All it took was just a little wrapped loop. Now, that doesn't take a whole lot, and that's not even the way you're supposed to use this, right? Supposed to. We're all about breaking out of the box, though. Check this out. I took some of those toggles and some jump rings and put this together to make a beautiful bracelet. So the ideas, I just want you to think outside the box. If you've got 36 clasps, use them as clasps if you want to, or take that 36 pieces and turn them into some really amazing, unique pieces, right? I have all of these plus all of the others left over, so I can still make some really cool things. Can always use those as a focal. So I've got this double strand necklace, again, with beads from the box, or the bag rather. And then I use that toggle ring as the focal for my piece of jewelry here, right? For this really cool necklace. All right, so I've done a lot of example showing here for you, but let's put something together. I was telling you guys about using this one connector as the connection point for a multi-strand design. One of my very favorite ways to design necklaces is to give them the look of more than one. So we're going to do kind of a faux multi-strand design, if you will. So using this top right here, that little triangle that's sticking out, we're going to use that as our top strand. I'm just going to kind of lay this out for you now. I've done a lot of this ahead of time just to kind of give you an idea. We will do some quick little loops together, but I found some of the most beautiful beads from that bead mix, and we're going to use this as our top strand, right? And I'll show you real quick, just some simple loops. Guys, one of my very favorite lessons to teach as I'm teaching how to make jewelry is that beautiful jewelry does not have to be a representation of every single skill that you have ever learned. Sometimes simple loops is all it takes to put together a really beautiful piece of jewelry. So let me just show you a quick simple loop. I've threaded one of those gorgeous beads onto an eye pin. I'm going to grab that wire with my chain nose pliers and I'm just going to give it a bend. I'm not bending it over the top of the pliers. I'm just bending it right where it is exiting the bead. I'm going to come in with my cutter. I'm going to trim off, leave about 1/4 of an inch of wire, and then I'm going to use my round nose pliers to grab that wire, and we're going to roll back to create a simple loop, right? We're going to open that loop, right? Now that we've got a connection on both ends, a lot like the connectors that we're talking about in the show, you guys. And just a quick reminder, those little, those are our clasps that are up there in the corner of the screen. If you want more information, please feel free to click on those. I'm not going anywhere. You're not going to miss anything. I'm going to become really small, but you can still shop on all of the things and watch at the same time. That's what makes JTV Extra so cool. All right, so I'm just going to take one of those loops that I just created and I'm just going to twist to open that, right? It's just a twist. You don't want to pull that apart. You'll never get that loop back together again. So open that up. You're going to thread that on to one of the loops from a previous bead that you have made, and then you're just going to twist to close that back, right? And that's how you're going to make a beaded chain. It's that simple. You're just going to make some simple loops. You're going to do that with all of your beads. We've got one more here. I'm just going to open that up, thread that on, close that back. And now all I'm going to do is use a jump ring to connect these. Now I definitely could wire wrap this directly to the components if I wanted to. It's up to you, right? You're the maker here. You're the maker. I'm just giving you some ideas. I'm going to thread a jump ring, and then I'm going to show you right there on that little opening. That's where I'm going to attach that. So you can see now I've still got 2 more spaces here that are going to be the perfect place to add the next 2 strands of our necklace. I'm going to do the same thing over here on the other end, just using a jump ring here between 2 pairs of pliers. I'm going to twist to open that. I'm going to thread that on, and then I'm just going to mirror that on the other connector and close that back, right? And we've already got 1 strand. Now you can use the single connectors this way as well, right? If you don't want to do a multi-strand design, this can go in place of this one, right? And just use that that one single loop rather to create a drape with your beads. You can do stringing, you can do wire wrapping. It's totally up to you, right? We're going to do another strand underneath this, and check out what I've done. I've used those smaller connectors that I showed you just a little while ago. I've used those smaller connectors to make a chain, and all I used was just some jump rings to go between them. That's all. That's all. And that's going to make the next drape of our necklace. So again, it's just as easy as opening and closing a jump ring. That's all you've got to do here. We're just going to open that up, thread it onto one of the loops on our connectors, and we're going to thread it onto one of the connectors of the smaller ones, right? You've got yourself the beginnings of a chain right here, right? I've done all of these ahead of time just to kind of save some time. So we're going to thread that on, attach these together, and then again, just jump rings. Jump rings is all we're going to use. So for this one, we didn't even have to do any wraps. We didn't have to do wrapped loops. We didn't have to do simple loops. All we're doing is just using the connectors to create our own personalized chain with these really cool Celtic links in between. Just using a jump ring here and threading that onto that middle, the actual loop, if you will, of our connector. And you can see we're getting that drape. That beautiful drape is happening with minimal effort, right? And it's all about these super cool connectors. The connectors made up the whole second strand of this necklace, right? Plus these gorgeous beads from that mix. And there are so many colors and styles of beads to choose from. You don't have to do this in gray. You don't have to. You can do this in blue. Check this out. There are some gorgeous blue beads, green beads, red beads in that mix. You've got color for days. So you're good to go on that. So we've got one more drape to put with this necklace, and I just want to show you what I did. So we don't have a lot of time here, but I'm going to put this together. Again, just some simple loops, jump rings in between, and then I went the extra step to put drops in between here just to give it a little extra, because I'm all about extra, you know. That's going to be our bottom drape, and of course the bottom drape is longer than our middle drape there, so that everything hangs about a 1/2 inch between all of our drapes as far as length is concerned, right? And again, this one is super easy. We're just going to use simple loops for our round beads, right? Just going to pop this one on to an eye pin. And then coming in with our cutter tool, we're going to trim that off. Cindy says, of course Sarah added the extra drops. Of course I did. Of course I did. I'm all about the movement in jewelry. I gotta have those extra drops and dangles, right? It's one of my favorite things. So just a simple loop here. If you want to do a wrapped loop for all of those, you can. I'll show you a really quick wrapped loop. We'll put this together. And guys, this necklace will be complete. And we still have a ton of beads, a ton of connectors. We've got a beautiful clasp to put on this. So I've just dropped this down onto a head pin. I'm going to bend the wire over the top of the pliers. That's going to give me enough room for all of the wire wraps. You don't have to do any measuring. It's already done for you. Coming in with my round nose pliers, I'm going to take that wire up and over the top barrel of the pliers to start my loop. I need to take that wire all the way over. So I'm going to take that bottom barrel. I'm just going to rotate those in my hands. Make that bottom barrel the top barrel so that I can take that wire over to the other side. And then we're just going to do the wraps in between. Like I said, no measuring involved here. The tools do all of that for you. So we've got room for about 3 wire wraps in between the loop we made and the top of our bead. And we're going to trim that off. right? You can tuck in your end if you need to, just with a little squeeze from your pliers. And then you're just going to put these together. Again, jump rings, so simple, so simple. We're going to got our jump rings here. Already making a mess. First day, and I've already got a mess here on my workstation. All right, I'm going to take my jump ring between two pairs of pliers, and I'm just attaching this to the loops in those simple loops with all of those little links that you're going to make with your beads. Before I add my next bead, I'm going to thread on a dangle. I'm going to thread on the next bead, and I'm going to close that back. Next one, same thing. Jump ring. Dangle. And your next bead, and you're going to, whoops, you're going to close that back. All right. And then you're just going to attach this to that bottom of the connector, and you've got 3 strands, 3 beautiful strands. And how much did you use? A handful of beads, maybe a handful of the connectors. You've still got tons left over to create more beautiful pieces of jewelry, guys. I'm just going to close that up. And I'll put some chain on this really quickly. Don't want to go over, but we'll put some chain on this so that I can show you what this looks like on the bust when I get you turned around so you can see all those beautiful drapes. But look at that. That middle strand, that's all of those connectors, right? Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. It's going to lay perfectly up against you. All right. So since we have these amazing toggles, right? These are really beautiful clasps. I've already attached this one to some chain here. This is going to be the length of our necklace. And I'm always a fan of putting my toggle in the front, particularly when they're beautiful, like the 4 different designs in that designer clasp kit. Having those in the front really kind of shows them off. I mean, why wouldn't you want to show off something so decorative? And of course, yeah, you can put that on the back of your necklace if you want to, but I want to show mine off. So I'm just going to put a jump ring here on the top of my connector, and I'm going to attach my toggle. So the toggle ring is right here in the front. And then I've just got some chain here for the length of my necklace. Now, that's not to say that I don't have enough beads to bead the entire length of this necklace if I wanted to. Absolutely. You've absolutely got enough. But that's it, guys. Simple, beautiful. Does not have to be a representation of every skill you've ever learned, right? Sometimes it's all about the beads and the findings. And for us here at Master Maker, it's all about the findings. We've got the beautiful clasps, we've got the connectors, and we have the amazing pound of beads that's going to last you, I don't even know. You're going to run out of connectors before you run out of beads, that's for sure. But oh, wow. You're still going to be able to make a ton of jewelry. All right, I'm going to turn you guys around because we're about to run out of time. But I do want to show you, hello again. I do want to show you, tighten you up so you don't fall on me here. I want to show you what this looks like hanging just so you get a good idea. Because a lot of times things don't translate as well on the mat as they do when you put them on an actual bust, so you can really see. And you really can see all of those beautiful connectors, that clasp in the front here. Right? Any one of those clasps would have been the perfect addition to this necklace. Love it. Thank you guys so much. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. Wherever you guys find me, you guys always let me be a part of your beady journey, and I appreciate that so much. So thank you, so many of you who have come here to join me on my new adventure at JTV Extra. I am, you're calling it a reboot. I love that. My reboot here. I love that. And I love you guys. I'm looking forward to more Master Maker with you guys. So please set your reminders, right? Come back around again this time next week. I've got more really cool components for you guys, and I'm going to inspire you and show you all the different ways that you too can become a Master Maker. So thank you guys. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you guys soon.